Hello and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have a returning guest. At this point he's not a guest, he's just a feature on the channel at this point. It's mmakingkreesejr.
What's going on, guys? Nice to see you.
And as you can see from the background behind, the color style choice for this, we're going right back to the 1940s, 1942 to be exact. And we are covering a cinematic classic, Casablanca.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, getting into it, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched this movie in a long time, and rewatching it made me love it even more. This movie, to me, I want to get into is that this is a great version of a story, a movie, and with political stuff within the movie. Because it was good for its time, because this stuff was currently ongoing or not long after it had finished. So it made a lot of sense. But I liked this movie so much because the storytelling in this isn't your generic done by the books story. It's very unique and different, especially for its time. I think it was a lot ahead of its time, especially with the diverse casting, which actually is really good. What about you, Danny? What's some of your favorite things that caught your eye?
I mean, like you said, like it's basically a Hollywood classic. If you don't have Casablanca as some of your, like, at least like in your top 10, like, you know, non superhero type of movies, for all you people that like to, you know, like to mix it up in there, something's wrong with you, because this was a great movie, especially at the time. It was basically like when basically the Germans took over in 1941 or whatever. So they were basically sending a message to the Germans, like, you know, this is before America kind of like stepped their hands into the war, but like they were kind of nudging it, but like people, you know what? I ain't even gonna go through that, because you know what? There's some people that know it way better than me and everything. I'm not your guy and everything. But for the most part, it was taking some chances, because, like, you know, I mean, you had different cultures on that movie or whatever. By all means, it wasn't forced either. They just did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just didn't care at that time. Especially during the times in America. It was in the 1940s. Like, there was no way that you're gonna have, like, you had like a black person on there, you had a couple of Asians, you had people of like Egyptian descent on the movie, and like you were showing this to like a whole entire white audience. That was basically who was going to movies at that time. That was taking a big old risk or whatever. So, shouts out to this movie for taking that risk.
And they done it right as well. It wasn't like it was like, look, there's people here in your face. It was just done so casually and so normalized that it made sense. Like, it didn't feel forced, and it was really good in that regard. For me, like, that's one of the things that I really do like about this movie, is that nowadays when you get these sort of things, they tend to focus way too much on it instead of just letting it be what it is. It's like Power Rangers. When you're a kid, when you watch it, you don't pay attention to the race. You just like every ranger. You might like Zack because he break dances. You know, you might like the Yellow Ranger because she's very good at fighting. Like you never really thought about, oh, they're Asian, they're black, and that's what makes it so good and unique. Is that's what I think they should do when it comes to diverse casting, instead of constantly trying to prove a point that everybody hates them, which most people don't. Just instead of doing that, why don't you do this instead? And it will go over so much better, and it will help you with your point.
Yeah. I mean, just on that point, like, when don't make this a Power Rangers thing. Like, you know, when Power Rangers came on, you weren't thinking like, oh my gosh, I see me on there. Like, it's just like, okay, like, you know. Zack, he was cool. He could break dance. Trini, she knew how to do kung fu or whatever. And, like, you know, is it a little bit of stereotypical? Yeah, but you didn't really care. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, oh man, these characters are fucking cool and everything. So, but yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, That's one of the greatest parts about this movie, is that they were able to do so much with so little. Because remember, this was the 40s. This was shot on actual film, so they would have had to cut this, and you know how much effort goes into that. So transitioning from that, though, we're going to go to the opening of this movie, which was very old school, simple, basic, and I loved it. It was like old school film, you know. It was just simple text and simple backgrounds. And then it gives you a little detailed version of the town Casablanca and where it is and what's going on there. And it just gets straight into the movie. It's simple, it's basic, but it hits the mark. That's what I like a lot about movies. There's certain movies, especially nowadays, where they either go too far to the extreme or they just don't try hard enough. Where this was like the perfect in between. How about yourself?
Yeah, same thing. Like, I love the intro. It was getting straight to the point. I mean, I think what's wrong with movies nowadays is like it'll be 20, 30 minutes in the movie and that's the intro. And I'm like, fuck? Like, why are we, why is it taking so much to get to the point? All right, whatever. I guess we're here, right? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I love how, what's the main character? Oh dang! I already didn't forgot the main
Rick?
character. Yeah, Rick. However, like I like how Rick basically is just the head of his business. He doesn't want to get involved with nobody. He like I don't care about any of the. Rick would if me you and Rick were in the same room, we probably like agree with a lot of stuff. We just don't really give a shit. We don't care.
Yeah, we would just be sitting around having a drink and playing maybe playing a game of roulette, because like in this movie, Rick's one of those characters that everybody keeps going, "What side are you on? What side are you on?" And why I love Rick, he's like, "It's none of my business. I'm completely neutral on everything," and that sometimes it's good to be neutral. So
yeah. Yeah, for certain things it's okay to be neutral. At that time, you have to remember at the time, like once again, there are people that know this more better than me, so I'm not a historian expert, but you can look it up yourself or whatever. This was like the time before America was getting involved with the Second World War or whatever. And you had Americans that were like any other subject for nothing hasn't changed or whatever.
yeah,
Hey, what is your view on like going to war? Like, because if you didn't want to go to war, then you are a bad person. You know what I'm saying? But if you did go to war, you are a patriot. You love your country and everything. So Rick was like in that thing of whatever. I just want to focus on my business. I don't. It's none of my business on what governments do with each other. Like it's not my thing. Like not my thing.
yeah. See, that's the thing, and that's one of the things that I liked about this movie. It's not like common, even in today's cinema, where you see someone who's neutral. They're either one way or the other, and that's what made this movie really special as well. Is that it was showing you that you could be neutral, but once we get near the end, because obviously, if you haven't seen this movie and it came out in 1942, I'm sorry, but of course there's going to be spoilers, my guy. Like, come on, if you've not seen it by now, what are you doing? Are you really a fan of film if you haven't seen this film? Um, it's like the character progression as well. Like at the beginning of this movie, the reason why I think Rick's such a great character, especially as a man character, is that it shows you men's mental health back in the 40s. Like you don't like people are just starting to push for that stuff now, but back then they were doing this stuff. They were showing Rick how he was neutral and he was running his business and he was being successful, but he was empty inside because we found out that he had a little romance in Paris with a lovely woman
named Lisa.
yes, and then we later find out that obviously it didn't have a happy ending. So you see him very upset a lot of the time. He drinks a lot, and he does something else that I can't say on YouTube because of guidelines. I can't say that. Slap me in the face. There we go. I was trying to find a non sort of
No, I got you.
guideline. Yeah.
I got.
Because
No,
the thing is,
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, finish up.
Because like for me, like it's one of these stories that isn't your typical love story as well, which I like about this is that it does a lot of twists and turns that we'll get to later on. But I can hand it over back to you, King.
Yeah. So like basically, it was shown like the movie was like talking about stuff that's already been happening. Like
Yeah,
we think it's like we're just now getting to this men's mental health part too, where dude they were doing all this stuff like back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s or whatever.
yeah,
It's just like you just didn't. It was just you just didn't focus on it that much. You're like, okay, you're just in the movie. You like, but now since
we're older.
good old since we're older and how can I say it? We know like if you're a film critic or whatever, and I don't like using the word critic or whatever,
Yeah,
but what's the right word? You're more educated on what film is now.
analyst.
You know what you basically you hit it right there, man. You know what this is. Like you see a man that is torn up. You see a man that is broken because like let's be honest, we all had that one or maybe two or maybe three in your lifetime where damn man, this could have been the one right here. I really love this person or whatever. And just due to circumstance, they don't really love you back at the same time or whatever. Maybe maybe it's because you like it you're just that good of a dude and they just are not that's just too much for them or whatever. Or
Or
maybe
you
it's
grew apart.
because like yeah, or you guys grew apart or whatever. Or maybe she's so scared of, the M word, aka marriage or whatever. You just hey, it's that's scary for a lot of people. It's for men and women, but like especially with women, like if she's not feeling you that type of way, and she just tells you like I don't feel you that type of way, we can
Mhm.
still be like good. That's gonna hurt you. That
Yeah.
that that hurt. That hurts. You know what I'm saying? It's you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like another thing that I like about Rick's character is shown to not be prejudiced against anyone. He hires anyone because his best friend
Yeah.
Sam, who plays the piano in his club, is a black man, and there is
Yeah.
people interested in buying him. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
outdated stuff, but
Yeah.
he always turned them down. He was like, "I don't sell people. I
Yeah.
don't," because he
Cause like
didn't see them as owning those people. He's seen them just as
yeah.
employees, the way it
Yeah.
is nowadays more. And that's what made him such a good character. It was that he
Yeah.
wasn't harsh, he wasn't horrible, and he was able to have friends of all different backgrounds and cultures. Kind of feel like the kings of pop culture, ironically. Um, but that's the thing. Like, it was really good in that regard as well because it shows you a guy that clearly had his heart broken by that girl. The one guys don't like to admit this, girls. So listen up. Yes, you might have been someone's that got away. You're the girl that broke their heart, and now they might blame you for their horrible actions. Unfortunately, that's not just a guy thing, that's also a girl thing. So let's not sit here and try and make a divide. Let's just be honest, it happens on both sides. And
Yeah.
it's good to see it though, because especially at this time period as well, they weren't focusing on like serious topics like, especially in this movie, you get a few kissing scenes, but that's it. This is before any like profanity. Like there was not a single cuss word in this movie at all. And
Yeah.
then do that now. Even Marvel movies are getting like a certain curse word here or there now.
Yeah.
Like it's really good. Like it was a good movie without any over the top profanity. It wasn't overly annoying. It wasn't overly preachy. It's just a fundamentally good story from beginning to end, and the characters
Yeah.
represent that.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, during that time, it's just it is what it is. Like that's why I tell people, yeah. Was there like some stereotypical roles back in the day that a lot of black actors and actresses had to go through in Hollywood? Of course. Was it wrong for them to do that stuff? Of course, and everything. No one's gonna disagree with you on that. But
Exactly.
it goes back to like we can't. But the thing is, we can't overcorrect either, because like if we overcorrect, then we're just as bad as that happened back in the day. You feel me? So, but yeah, just going back on Sam or whatever. Sam just staying close to his friend, like, hey man, I got you no matter what, dude. Like, I got you, like, you know, and back in the day, that's how they used to do it, man. Hey, like, well, you know, just I'm preference this and everything. Like, let me preference this or whatever. That's how they used to talk to like grown black men back in the day. It's like, say, boy, I want to be able to buy you, come to my club and everything. Like, that's how they used to. That was just the way it was and everything. Was it right? No. By all means, don't agree with it at all or anything. I denounce that type of stuff, of course. But you know, it's like you saw Rick saying like, nah, he's my employee and everything. You mean Sam, my employee? Yeah, like he's a good man. Like I pay him really well too and everything. Like he does everything that I need to do and everything. So he basically so he's saying in the as my UK brethren will say, off and everything.
Yeah, he's pretty much like, who the hell do you think you are coming into here and asking me that question? You do realize that's not allowed anymore? Get the hell out of my shit. Get out of here.
Yeah. Like, well, in the 40s, it was still like that and everything.
Yeah,
but
it was
like,
still
you know,
like that. But you know, like it was it wasn't as predominant as it used to be. Which, obviously, it's one of those things, like, I'll never agree with it either. And obviously, people are going to be like, well, even if this, that, the next thing, you're white. Yeah, I'm Scottish white. I'm different, okay? I never, ever thought about race. I never even thought of myself as a white person. I just saw myself as a Scottish person, my guy. So, so chill out with all that stuff. So, just thought I'd preface that. But see, for me, like, that's the thing that made me like this movie so much as well, is that it showed you that people of different races could get on in a time that it was seen as not very realistic. But that's what made this movie so realistic. It was showing you what we could have actually been like at that point if we were just decent people. And I don't know where this, like, where Hollywood has went from there, because that was actually a good message to send. Now they went the opposite way, and I'm like, can we go back to this? Because this was actually good. Like, it was a good way of being diverse. I want them to go back more to this sort of stuff. Because for me, like, especially because, you know, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm white, Danny's black. You know? Like, you don't see us sitting here, like, being like, oh, I ain't hanging out with him, and I ain't hanging out with him. Because guess what? Race was never a thing with us. We just got on because we're good friends. And we like a lot of the same things. We're pop culture geeks. And that's how it should be. It should never, ever come up to the fact of race. Like, Danny could have been any race. I still would get on with them because we agree on things and we like the same things. It's that simple, guys. It really is. Just to point that out to you out there. For the ones that are a bit too extreme one way or the other. It's not that bad. Like, chill.
It's not that deep, man. It's not that deep.
As we say, it's not that deep. Like, it really isn't. So, also, Lisa as a character that is actually funny. She would line up more with modern women these days compared to back then. And that is not an insult. That is not an insult. But let's just say she was justified in her actions because, let's be honest, she thought her husband died. And obviously, it was a secret marriage because he didn't want her getting harmed. So, because of that, she ended up dating Rick, and they fell in love, and they were in Paris together. And when she found out he was alive, she left Rick at the train station, which is ironic because back in those days, it was the guy that left the girl at the train station. So there you go, another flip on that stereotype. So that's another good thing for this movie, is whereas it was reversed, and instead of a train, it was a plane. So, you know, is what it is. But that's what I like, though, is that it shows you that she wasn't wrong, but she didn't know how to go about telling the people that she loved. And that's what, it wasn't the classic love triangle where they're fighting over affection. And that's what makes it so beautiful and such a great story as well. Because her husband, Victor Laszlo, or it's along those lines. I can't really pronounce the last name. He was a guy fighting against the oppression. This is obviously set during World War II, so you can tell who the bad guys are. I can't say it because YouTube will demonetize me, but let's just say the first time I seen them and they said a certain thing, I was like, oh, it's those people.
No, there's a code word for it. We call it, it's the YouTube code word of Yahtzee.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I was Yahtzees! And, I was kind of feel quite shocked because obviously I've not seen it in a long time, so I completely forgot that they were in this movie. And that's the thing, though. They were shown as the bad guys. They were never shown to be nice people, and that's what I liked about it. It was like they didn't try to justify it. Like anyway,
yeah.
But Victor was a good character. Like obviously after this, I'll quickly put it over to you just in case, because obviously it seems like you really got something to say. So, but for Victor as well, he was a good character because he wasn't your just run-of-the-mill good guy. He actually was fighting for a honorable cause, and he was also an honorable man. And that's the thing I like about this movie, is that it's two men that are honorable.
Yeah.
So
for sure. So like definitely like Lisa was basically the, how can you say, the modern woman at that time or whatever. Like there's a whole type of podcast on that side I can't get into, or else I ain't getting, like I said, there's some things that more people are more educated on me than that. So I digress. Lisa, she didn't know how to tell, because I think that's hard, like, because it's really hard when dudes get their heart broken, but it's really hard. There's some women, if they really like you back, but they can't tell you that they don't like you that way, it hurts them too and everything. Like, to be fair on both sides or whatever, you're gonna get the most of the hurt, but it's kind of hurting them too at the same time or whatever. Yeah. But but she did the right thing, because she went back with her husband and everything. She thought her husband was dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't falter on that. Yeah. So like, you have to, Rick, I understand it is what it is, bro. But if you knew, but Victor was still alive. That's just the way it is. She had
also,
to,
speaking, like near the end, the night before, she knew he was alive. So, but at the same time, it didn't seem to bother him though. That's what I liked about this movie. It showed you an actual grown-up understanding of the situation instead of just being irrational.
For sure. And like on that, like you saw, it wasn't your stereotypical, like, because in a lot of movies when it hits that love triangle thing, like, guys are gonna be fighting over each other, and like, they do snake stuff with each other, like, just to get the attention of the woman back or whatever. Rick handled it really good. He handled it really adult-like or whatever, because like, he was still mad that he's seeing like the woman that got away with the dude that it's technically like the perfect husband and everything. He got money. He's like fighting for a good cause or whatever. Like, he has his own business too. Like, he had a triple she had a triple threat right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you see Rick, you like, he only got 2 out of that 3 and everything. Like, he doesn't have the love of his life, but he got like the fighting for a good cause. Like, well, not fighting for a good cause, find a good cause to make some more money in his pocket,
he did just to have a good fighting for a good cause until she left. But that's why he also like, that's what is so good about that character. He goes, I'm the one in the wrong here. Like, I don't deserve you because of the way I ended up becoming, which is another grown-up thing to do.
Yeah, because like, when you see the girl that you really love and she's with the dude that you have to low-key respect. You're like, okay, I'm not even gonna freaking lie. Like, I love you so much, I'll kill that other dude just to get to you and everything. But, because I love you so much, I'm gonna let it be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna let it be. Oh, so, and I love the fact that, like, the love triangle was not stereotypical. So that was really good on that movie. It's like they showed you like all 3 sides of it or whatever, like all the points of view, like all 3, except for Victor. Victor was like in the, like, oh, you guys know each other. This is the guy. oh, this is the guy. Like, oh, dang, so this is.
See, that's the thing though. Victor didn't seem too bothered by it. Like he put it together, but he was like, "Cool."
Yeah.
But that's
He basically just said like, "Hey, as long as you don't touch her, hey, dude, like we cool." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
another character in this movie we can touch upon is obviously the villain of the movie. He's a colossal douche. I just have to preface that. Basically, he's a Yahtzee in hiding, trying to overthrow this part of Casablanca. And obviously, there is another guy within the sort of police force, and he's also Captain.
Hold on, let me pull it up. Captain Lewis.
And the thing I love about Captain Lewis's character, before we go more into Captain Dushkano, funnily enough, it's not actually the Captain Lewis that's the Dushkano, it's the other guy, but is that this character is one of the best twists of all cinematic history. They make most people, if you saw it for the first time, believe he's going to turn out to be a bad guy. But when we get closer to that, you know. But anyway, the other dude though, he's just awful, man. Like, he was a great actor. He done a really good job at portraying a colossal douche. Because, like, you really hate this guy. You do not like him because he's using ways to cheat people out of getting out of the country. He's trying to keep them there, and if they try to escape, he's unaliving them, because I can't say the other word, unfortunately, because I don't understand why that gets censored, though. It's stupid. I
was going to say, he sends them to a summer camp if you get caught, like, leaving countries, if you know what I'm saying.
And it's
like,
not one of those
that you don't want to go.
It's not a fun summer camp. Let's just say that. It's the one that is very last minute and you didn't want to go to it in the first place. Yeah, one of those ones. But,
Major Henrich, the douche canoe.
No, like, legit, like, seriously, that's what made him such a perfect villain, though. You believed he was horrible, and that's what I'll give props to that actor, because hopefully he wasn't that horrible in real life. Fingers crossed. But he done a really good job, and that's the thing. Like, when it comes to a villain in a movie, he's a villain. Like, you want him to not survive this movie because of that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, literally, man. Like, in the first minute, like when like the major shows up, he just like he's in the restaurant. He's talking to Rick. He was like, sit down, Mr. Rick, and everything. And, like, they were just chatting and everything. And you, like a true Yahtzee and everything, he has to make sure, like, what is your heritage? Like, oh Lord, like, seriously, like,
and then also,
like, Rick is like.
He also has all, like, the backstory of Rick as well. He's got it all on paper. Like, you fought against us, and and Rick's like, dude, will you shut up, man? Like, who cares? Yeah.
It's like, you send weapons to the Ethiopians? Like, what? Why do you care about those people? Like, they're below all of us and everything. Like, stuff like that. You're like, are we actually having this conversation? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's why I like Rick's character.
Like, Rick is saying, like, yeah, whatever. Like, okay, get this piece of Yahtzee trash out of my sight. Like, you know what I'm saying?
For like, not even like 2 to 3 minutes. And once he gets to a certain point, Rick's just like, it was nice talking to you, lads. I'm out. And that's the way you should go about these things. Because legit, that's why I like Rick so much. It's like, he's just like, yeah, no, that's morally bankrupt to high heaven, so I'm going that way. And that's what a lot of people should do when people bring up those conversations, instead of getting into heated debates about it. Because there shouldn't be a debate in those situations.
Shouldn't be a debate. It's like, okay, you know what? I ain't gonna debate you. You almost had me, but I don't care and everything. Like, whatever you believe,
And then we can transition on to Captain Lewis. I loved his character so much because he was good friends with Rick, and obviously Rick kept letting him win. And that's another reason to like Rick. I forgot to add at the Rick section, is that he legit helped a couple get away to America by letting them win. He rigged the game. And the way I love about this movie is that they make Captain Lewis look like he's a bad guy. Like, he's like, oh, you're rigging the games, you're doing this, and it makes him out to be such a villain. But then we get to the end, near the end of the movie. We can talk about this part, and then we can talk about the loving end part in a bit. We get to the end, and then we see Rick and Mr. Colossal Douche are at gunpoint, and he shoots Colossal Douche. And in that moment, you're like, oh no, he's going to get grassed in. But then Captain Lewis turns around and goes, round up the usual suspects, and we'll try to figure out who did it. And then they walk away.
He says, I didn't see.
I didn't see anything. And so whilst they're walking away, Rick says, I think this is going to be a good start of a very good friendship. And what I liked about that is that it showed you he didn't want to do the things he was doing. He was getting forced to by a colossal douche. And the minute somebody was willing to take him out, he was like, you mean that guy? Oh, I didn't know him. And that's how you know he's a true friend and he's a loyal friend. The fact that he could have got like a prestigious reward for like turning you in, but instead he goes, nah, he was right.
Yeah.
He
basically just said like, yeah, I don't care about this guy. He was always a douche anyway, so like, oh well.
See, the way I also interpret it is the new version of it's basically like it was an older version of the new expression of, oh, it's okay, I've got the shovel. So even back then they had it.
I like that one. Like, yeah, I love that standoff. He's saying like yeah, Captain Lewis was the clutch friend. He basically just said like him and Sam were his two closest friends right there. They said like, bro, we got your back, bro. No matter what, we got your back. Like,
not only does he have his back, he also he's like, I'll send you on a free vacation.
Yeah. He's like, he just straight up shot him. He was like, stop that plane. He says like, hey man, I'm finna shoot you, bro. Keep on talking. It's like, he's like, stop that plane right now. All right, I warned you. Yep.
And the thing that I like about this movie is it's not like other movies at that time where like the proper love interest would die saving the two people, and you know it's all sappy and stuff. It's like, no, he got to live a happy life afterwards too, which is not very common. Like, I know I know I shouldn't be bringing this up because it's a 40s movie, but Star Wars. Can we please get one person that turns from the dark side to the good side and actually survives to do good? Thank you. Thought I'd put that out in the ether. Anyway, going forward from that, that's the thing. Like, this is what I think most like movies are missing these days. It's got a great coherent story. The characters are so well developed and written to the point where it doesn't feel long. Like when we started watching this, by the end of this movie, I was like, is that the end of it already? And me and Danny was like, yep. And I was like, no, keep going. It's good. Like, you actually wanted it to keep going, where most movies you're hoping it to end, especially these days. So that's why I think it's such a good movie as well. Obviously, we can get onto the other part of the ending, which was the love story. So basically, the night before, the girl who's Victor's wife goes to see Rick to try to get the papers, and she's like, I did love you. And she's doing everything in her heart to show her that she did actually love him. And by doing so and explaining her side in the situation that she thought her husband was dead, so she completely thought it was okay and fair game to then fall in love with him. The one part that you might not agree with is that she kissed him again, and she said that she wanted to stay with him because she said she couldn't face leaving him again. But instead of being the selfish, narcissistic type of dudes that we tend to see in movies, he does the opposite. He goes, no, you're getting on that plane with him.
Go with him.
He can offer you a life I can't offer you. And on top of that, this is what is right. You married him first. He is alive, so you belong with him. And that is such a mature and an adult way of going about things, and so non-selfish that you cannot not justify that act. It's such a selfless act. You can see that she loves him, but she can also see that she loves the other dude, and he knows that even though he would love to keep her, it's not the right thing to do.
He can't. Yeah, it's not the right thing to do, or whatever. And I mean, I mean, not to get like spiritual or anything. I mean, just like he just stuck kind of like the biblical thing. It's like, yo, man, hey, you married that man. That's your husband. I'm not coming through. I'm not going between you and God and everything. Staying away from that and everything. Like, yo. So that's basically what happened. He did the mature thing to do. Now nowadays, a lot of dudes won't do that. Like a lot of dudes just say, like, you know, screw that and everything. I love you. We can make it work or whatever. Hey, we can just keep it a secret or something like that. And it still ends up being somebody ends up getting hurt, or somebody might end up in the grave if you try to do that type of stuff. But for the most part, man, Rick did the mature thing. He let the love of his life go because he was not there in time, or whatever. And I think a lot of guys, a lot of men, they were just like that. They were like 1 inch away. Like they were like the girl that you truly really loved or whatever, the one that got away or whatever. You just weren't there in time because circumstance. You were just probably focused on you or whatever, and then the moment that you find out that that person is available, you know, they're not available no more because either one, you waited too late, or or like you were so much into your mind or whatever, it was just too late or whatever. So that's the mature thing to do.
I would say it's time to give a rating. So ironically, I already know that my ranking's the same as Danny. Actually, I might put it a bit higher, actually. I might put it at an 8.5. Because there's so much I love about this movie. Like, it's a close to a 9 for me, because the storytelling of it is really good.
Yeah.
The characters and the development are really well written, and it's so simplistic and basic, but because of that, it holds a lot of weight. And it's a movie, and someone like Rick, to me, is a good guy would be a good role model for a guy to look up to, because he's honorable. He never puts his passion before principles. Cobra Kai, thank you. Anyway, and he's just a stand-up guy, and he's willing to sacrifice stuff that most people aren't, and that's what makes you a good man, in my opinion.
Yeah. I got the same thing, like 8.5, 8.6. You know, it has its problems with the movie or whatever. Like sometimes the pacing can get a little long. Like for an hour and 42 minutes, it felt a little long, but you know, it still ride it out a little bit for what it was. But I mean, it just showed you what an honorable man Rick is or whatever. A lot of dudes can't say that they'll do the same thing. Like, you know, giving up your one true love because you're just like a little late or whatever. You're just
a wrong time, wrong place.
Like fourth and inches. Yeah, wrong time, wrong place or whatever. I mean, that's it. Rick, I believe, in my opinion, Rick ended up winning anyway because you know what? He's still with his boy Sam. He's still with the Cap or whatever. And you know what? There's a lot of women in the sea where like he could find somebody that's better than Lisa. You just don't know, man.
Very true. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to start wrapping up. So, I have been Kane and Will. That has been King, and we shall see you guys.
Ooh. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Oh, I know.
Post credit.
Yep.
So, Mr. Adam, I gotta ask you something.
Yes.
So, do you want to go to Gotham City after this movie?
Yes, and I want to see a specific type of Gotham City, to be exact.
Well, we'll leave it right there. Y'all guys take it easy.
You guys take it easy. But anyway, as always, I have been Kane and Wilf. That has been MMA King Kreesejr, and we shall see you guys in the next video.